Hi, this is Howard Tiersky, CEO of Moving Interactive, with another episode in our Digital Innovation series. Today's topic, digital predictability. You know, many people in this digital field are drawn to it because, frankly, it's still to some degree the Wild West. Things are constantly changing. Technology's emerging, business models shifting, consumer behavioral patterns evolving. It's exciting, to me anyway. But many CEOs and CFOs, not to mention investors, they like predictability. They want to know what's going to be done when and what results it will have in the marketplace. Now, it's pretty tough to have an accurate crystal ball that foretells the future. But what we've found here at Moving Interactive is that there's actually a lot you can do to improve the predictability of the digital product development process and launch. And that's what we're going to talk about here today. So what would digital predictability really mean if it were perfect? If you really had that working crystal ball? Well, I think it would mean that we can have an idea, a vision for some kind of a digital product and be able to accurately state what it will take to launch in terms of time and cost, what the optimal form of the product would be, what features and capabilities really matter, what the best design of the UI would be, and what kind of uptake it would have in the market, as well as how it would need to evolve over time to maximize its potential. We'd also see in advance and avoid any problems in the development lifecycle, any points of confusion, technical problems, or wrong turns. Sounds good, right? Well, I can't get you there with this video. Sorry. But I can get you closer, perhaps, by introducing you to our model, which we call the digital predictability chain. It's a chain because each step connects to and really is dependent on the previous step. If you follow the chain and just pay attention to be sure you have implemented the right practices for each step, you can drive up your predictability. So, 5 steps to the chain. Let's do an overview and then we'll dive in. The 5 steps are 1. Business objectives. 2. Feature prioritization. 3. Requirements and development. 4. Quality. 5. Flexibility and iteration. So the first step is business objectives. If we're going to have a predictable outcome, we need to know what it is we're trying to accomplish. It's not necessarily difficult to do that, but it's very important and not always made clear. Are we trying to drive more listeners to our radio station, get people to sign up for a subscription service, sell advertising space? Ideally, we have measurable goals so we can be crystal clear about the problem we're trying to solve with our digital product. Alice of Alice in Wonderland says, if you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there. Perhaps true, but not a good approach if your goal is predictability. The second link in the chain is feature prioritization. And we include in this both the design aspects as well as the functional ones. You need to determine what your product must do in order to be successful, and in fact to know if there is any demand at all for the product. There are many tactics to improve predictability in this step, but the most valuable we have found is customer research and testing. Utilize user observations to try to understand as much as possible about your potential customers' unmet needs that you have the opportunity to fill for the user with your new digital product. And then find ways to prototype and test your ideas rapidly and often so that you get continuous customer feedback long before you have fully built the product. And tie that research back to your objective from the first link of the chain. If success means getting customers to sign up for a $10 a month subscription, use the research to really determine if you've created a sufficiently compelling product concept that will drive the desired sign-up behavior. If the answer is no, or it's uncertain, use the research as an opportunity to probe to understand what changes are needed to get to that point. We'll do a separate video on the different techniques which can be used for these types of research activities. But the key really is to get the voice of the customer into the process early and continuously, and to test whether the product concept is aligned with the consumer readiness to engage in the behaviors that tie to your business outcomes. Okay, the third step in the chain is requirements and development. Now, requirements, how does this differ from feature prioritization? The requirements, and we can even include the UI design in this link of the chain as well, are the detailed description of what needs to be built. You see, one of the greatest risks to the predictability is the loss of clarity in the development process that can happen as we go from high-level feature ideas to something that's actually being built. There are a variety of practices that can help to be sure that the requirements are defined accurately and in sufficient detail and communicated successfully to the development team. These include creating annotated prototypes, and I'd refer you here to our video on prototyping. Having very detailed requirements documents would be another effective tactic here, or as an alternative, use agile development process with continuous communication between product owners and the development team. In fact, one reason we combine requirements and development into one step of the chain rather than two is the recognition of the power of agile development techniques and the reality that requirements and development are often an iterative process. If you're not familiar with the key principles of agile, we'll probably do a future video on it. But in the meantime, you can get plenty of information online. Try Googling Agile Manifesto. The fourth step in the chain is quality. So at this point, you understand what you want to achieve. You've determined what type of product will meet users' needs and drive the desired behavior. You've got the details on what needs to be built in the hands of your developers, one way or another, and they've built it. But if it doesn't work quite right, or fails on certain devices, or crashes their phone, you probably aren't going to achieve predictability. So this link in the chain is critical. There's so many good resources on QA. We won't try to cover it here as a subset of this video in detail. But just bear in mind that as fast as you may be trying to move with your product development, taking time to do the necessary types of feature testing, integration testing, performance testing, and platform testing is essential and has to be worked into your project schedule. The fifth step of the chain is flexibility and iteration. Successful digital products are not born successful. For almost any successful digital product or platform, if you learn its history, you'll learn it started out as something far different from what you know it as today. eBay started as a site for trading Pez dispensers. Flickr started out as an online role-playing game. PayPal started as a Palm Pilot application. Facebook started out as more or less a dating or even hookup site. These products became successful because they put something out there and then learned from the market and iterated and iterated and iterated. Key to success in this link in the chain is first measurement and listening so you really understand what consumer behavior are driving and why. Second is the ability to put changes into the market rapidly. And third, rinse and repeat. Okay, well, each of these 5 steps could easily be a lengthy video in its own right. But hopefully that introduction to the digital predictability chain is useful. In the digital world, there are always many factors beyond our control that are constantly changing. And so our predictability will still be far from perfect. But utilizing this model is a way to at least improve the predictability of your outcomes. Thanks so much for watching this episode. And if you are one of those people who writes to us to say you've watched all the episodes in our digital innovation series and eagerly look forward to the next one, all I can say is, thanks, Mom. I really appreciate that. No, seriously, we appreciate the feedback, encourage you to keep sending it, and post on any of our social media channels. And if we can be of any help to you in your digital product innovation, feel free to reach out to us. Our contact info is on our website at movinginteractive.com. With that, this is Howard Tiersky, CEO of Moving Interactive, wishing you tremendous success with all your digital innovation.